like I'm making up something. You look it up. The United Nations, and that's what I was trying to explain to you a couple of weeks ago or last week. They have a mandate that the Moorish nation, which is Wachita, Tedu Damayu, the Moors are the oldest, these are the words, oldest indigenous people, not persons, people on earth. Now it got to mean something. That's why we got to build ourselves a nationality, and it's got to be labeled with a incumbent title, such as indigenous. I am an indigenous Omic Wachita Moor. And I ain't got to file no papers. I ain't got to argue with nobody. I'm in my zone for what I know. And once you start studying from your zone, you're going to find that you have some rules and regulations as being indigenous that don't apply to the system. Because you was here before the system. We gave them the Constitution, which they didn't give it to us. We only became a part of it when we did not argue of the 14th Amendment when they made us acquiescent citizens of Washington, D.C. in the District of Columbia. All this stuff is here.
I gotta find y'all another video.
Okataku organized another attack, killing almost 500 settlers. See, they didn't get along. Once that first guy, the daddy of Pocahontas, died, his brother took over. And he began to notice that the Europeans were encroachment of English settlers who were constantly moving westward, taking more land to replace the fields depleted by tobacco crops. That you have some
listen what he said
as being indigenous that don't apply to the system. Because you was here before the system. We gave them the Constitution, which they didn't give it to us. We only became a part of it when we did not argue of the 14th Amendment when they made us acquiescent citizens of Washington, D.C. in the District of Columbia. All this stuff is here. 12 years later, Okataku organized another attack, killing almost 500 settlers. See, they didn't get along. Once that first guy, the daddy of Pocahontas, died, his brother took over. And he began to notice that the Europeans were encroachment of English settlers who were constantly moving westward, taking more land to replace the fields depleted by tobacco crops. We had the tobacco crops. We're supposed to be picking cotton. So they say, from Hollywood, going with the wind. See how they do it?
Yeah.
In 1622, he led a series of a surprise attack, which killed almost 350 settlers in one sweep. This began to a decade of warfare, which finally ended when a peace treaty was signed in 1632.
So we were still fighting. We were tagging them, really.
We was here. They had to create the Indians because there was too much going on in the history of the United States that they couldn't explain. And they didn't want us to know. So we can even ask the question, well, if the Indian was here, how did you take over everything? You had to kill them all to do it. But we're so busy looking at us and slavery coming over on slave ships, we don't even think about that question. Let's say we give the Indian the first, but good. Why is he on the reservation? If it's his land, why in the hell is he on the reservation? Why are they talking him down?
Well, he got some.
He got some what? I heard that. Yes, he do. Yes, he do. But all of the equipment is owned. You ought to talk to somebody who knows about those casinos. The equipment is owned by Europeans, and the business portion of it is set up by Europeans. In other words, The Indian has the land. That's all he has is the land. They come in and create the casino and set up the contracts to go inside with the Indians' land. Remember the fight they had on Greektown? Remember the black chick who was the city council person? No, she had moved up to, I almost called Brenda. I want to say Brenda Scott, but it wasn't Brenda Scott. Anyway, she was in the White House with Clinton.
That's talking about Beverly. I'm talking about that when they died.
No. The one I'm talking about was on the city council, and then she ran for Diggs' seat. I think she ran for Diggs' seat. Anyway, she went to the Secretary of Interior and told them from the Black Caucus, since we supported all of y'all crap, I want you to make Greektown an Indian reservation. Don't you remember that?
Yeah.
They kicked her out of she lost her next election because she brought that up. That's how they do treat us.
Barbara Rose Collins.
They come after us to get us out of there.
Yeah.
I'm looking at her because her brother, because her brother married a Ghanaian prince. And I went over there with him and the wife and I. Oh, I almost said it. Okay, it'll come to me. I'll learn it later. But anyway, my point in bringing that up is she went against the grain when she made the Secretary of Interior give that Greektown, downtown, Brenda. He gave, Beverly, I'm sorry, gave that to the Indians, those two Indian guys, those two Greeks. Because they had an Indian that tribe that wanted to come in there, but they needed land. So they made that land down there Indian territory. And they got an Indian grant to get on it. Now they done sold, everybody done forgot about it. Now they're selling it to a European. He cannot buy it. That's right. That's guilt.
Yeah.
But he listen to me. But he never can own it. He's only bought as a certificate of title. That's my point I'm trying to get everybody to see. He knows the game. He can't own it. The Indians can come back and take it anytime because the land belongs to us. Indians don't have the right to give the land away. It's got to be a female.
Oh.
Barbara Rose Collins. Barbara Rose Collins is her name.
Okay.
Yep. Barbara Rose Collins. I get old. I forget it.
We only have about 15 minutes to get into the so,
yep.
if you have a question around, you can call 347-215-8041. That's 347-215-8041. And next Wednesday line at 2 p.m. We can start off with dog flow.
Okay. We can do that. And I want everybody to do some research. I ain't going to keep coming and running all this if nobody's studying. I wanted them to jump on me, or they can email me at ronmartshow@yahoo.com.
I'm still calling
and ask
Man
me
March.
questions or challenge me on what I'm
Man
saying.
Martin.
I just told y'all a lie. I just made that up. I didn't have nothing else to do but to come in here and tell you a barefaced lie. So challenge me on it. And we all can learn. I'm not going to expose you as Josephine Baker from New York. I just want to know if you got it, and if you did, let's discuss it. That's fair enough, ain't it, Beverly?
That's fair. That's good. And that's how we love to keep from discussing. We have a lot of people on telephone lines that I don't see in hand. That is great. So the area code is 347-215-8041. Now, someone in the chat room is saying that the first President George Washington conducted the French Revolution in 1787 to 1799.
Okay. don't know. I don't know. I can easily agree with that, but I haven't done any research on that. And tell that person, don't forget that the French and Indian War was black French and black Indians. They made those names up. They didn't exist. We were the first ones on earth, the oldest people on earth. Everything came from us. Germans, French, English, everything came from us. We were that in the beginning. So when they say French and Indian War, the first thing we think about is over there in Europe, France, and that's not what they're talking about. Because the war of French and Indian War was in the Northwest Territory, in Detroit, Michigan, Ohio, all this Great Lakes area. That's where the Indians fought. Detroit was founded by French, but they were not French. Over there, what you know today,
the French is trying to be called French and ain't being called
I used
French.
to have a map.
Lex was telling us about that.
Of early 1700 United States, and all of those countries were here. They got ran out in 1812. Most of the people about a war of 1812. None of them can tell me what that war was about. They made a couple of movies from Hollywood with that bald-head Yul Brynner and somebody Latif that was fighting down in New Orleans, to give you a general idea, with Andrew Jackson. But that's not what it was. Andrew Jackson and the legislation said they wanted only one flag in the United States. So they were pushing all of the other countries off the United States.
Come on, honey.
See, this was a diabolical plan that was set up probably, 1500 sometime. Where we are today, it was all set up way back. And they needed a power base, United States. They needed this land in order to do what they're doing today, to take over the earth.
Okay, to take over the earth. That's what they're trying to do.
Asking yourself, why don't we have a nation?
They did it well, so everybody sat back and watched. It was entertainment.
Somebody was asking a question, and I didn't hear it clear. Did you hear it?
No, that wasn't me. That was
Should I not open it? No worries.
Oh, okay. I guess all I was saying was the War of 1812 was set up and fought to run all flags off the United States.
Got my brother drop open.
And let's
Listen
not
to that.
forget,
Let's not wrap this up.
the Morocco government, where they try to say the Moors came from, was only founded in 1958.
Oh.
Now, think about that. How can it be founded in 1958 when I'm talking about Morocco, El Morocco, back in 1600? They had to set up Morocco over there to confuse us. The same way they set up Israel to get the Christians to think that Jesus had blonde hair, blue eyes, and pale skin. They made that drop out. Help me, somebody. They had to create Israel in order to get them in there with that lie and run the Palestinians off, and they had to do it with round bunch of black kids. Oh, Lord. Don't get me cranked up on that again.
Please get quiet, sir.
It was founded by Ralph Bunche, the first black to get the Nobel Peace Prize. They set that up because he was a good nigga. His job was the Palestinians out. Jesus walked in Palestine. And there's no Palestine today. Christians don't know that. If you ask a Christian or even a preacher, how long has Israel been over there? They'll tell you, oh, they've been there thousands of years. And I tried to cold copy one time. You're just a dummy. Israel was only founded in 1948 in order to keep us in darkness. And they did a good job because they reward all preachers with privileges. to keep us asleep.